Hi, I'm Ted. Welcome to part 2 of this video series in replacing a motherboard in a TiVo Roamio base model. What we're going to be doing here is modifying the case to install the motherboard and other components, and we're going to be replacing the motherboard with an Asus H110T Thin Mini-ITX board. We'll need to cut out the back panel. The processor is going to be a Core i3. It's the i3-7100T. The memory, I got 2 sticks of Crucial, 4 gigabytes each, and it's the DDR4. This is the motherboard that we are going to be using for this project. It's a good idea to install the processor and memory before installing the board on the case. So what we're going to do is install the CPU first. It's going to slide open, and we're just going to lay that right on top and close it down. Alright, next we're going to install the RAM. Okay, so these are SO DIMMs, so you're going to lay them flat, slide them in, and then push it down. It's got to snap. Okay, it snapped. And listen for a snap again. And it snapped. And it's in. And it's snug. Okay, the first modification we're going to make to the TiVo Roamio in this part 2 is to cut the light wires. The wires are too short and it has a wrong connector. So we are going to cut the wires, and then we are going to splice on new wires and a new connector. Okay, we are going to use a hacksaw, and we are going to cut out the back side and use the I/O shield and mark with a pencil. And go ahead and go right in that circular cutout. So that's going to be one cut there. It can be slightly overcut, and we'll fill in the gaps later. I'm going to take the hacksaw and cut through the plastic and the sheet metal simultaneously. Alright, we have 2 vertical cuts made. So what we can do now is take a pair of pliers and bend the metal back. Take this plastic and just work it back and forth until we can slowly chip that away. Work it back and forth, and then twist it, and it will come out. Okay, I have a portion of the plastic cut out. So what we can do now is take the pliers and latch onto the metal, work that back and forth. Be very careful, the metal very sharp. Work it back and forth just like the plastic, and it will eventually break. It gets real soft, and then it breaks. Alright, I have a portion of the metal cut out. It's going to expose the bottom portion of the plastic. And what we can do is the same thing, use that same motion, back and forth, and then cut out the plastic. We'll have to do that all the way across. Okay, I have this back section pretty much taken out, and I have also taken out this tab, this tab, this tab. I'm in the process of taking this out. This bump up for the cable card is also too high. I placed a new motherboard in and marked with a pencil on the 4 spots where the standoffs will go. Used a drill to drill through the sheet metal on the 2 right ones, and then I used a just a small screw and screwed all the way through the plastic case. And I've got one more to do here on this left side. I'm not using the drill, just using the small screw, drilling through the case, and then putting in standard standoffs, and they come out nice and tight in each case, even in the case where there's no sheet metal. I have the new motherboard installed, and I used Permatex superglue, which is a high quality superglue, around the perimeter of the cable card cover before I put the new board in, because the cover is not going to need to ever come off again. The SATA cable and power cable that came with the board have connectors that are 180 degrees different than the TiVo cables. So I installed the hard drive. It's the same TiVo hard drive, installed it upside down, and I put standoffs under the brackets. I got a iCool low profile cooler, and I'm going to need to cut a hole in the top of the TiVo case because it is slightly higher than the case without a hole in it. And I'm going to remove the fan and install the fan upside down to improve the thermal cooling slightly, because I'm going to use the CPU fan as also the case fan. I measured and marked with a pencil where it needs to be cut for the fan, and I'm using a drill with a multi-surface bit, and I'm going approximately where it needs to be cut out. I'm doing a little bit of soldering. I got a front panel connection, and it had a LED light on. I cut off the light. I'm going to go ahead and use the light on the TiVo, the green light. I have heat shrink tube, and also have a soldering iron, and I am soldering the green to the red. You can use a 9-volt battery to determine which wires are used for the green light. on the TiVo. The polarity does matter, and I'm going to use the green light for the power indicator, and there's a blue light on the right side. I'm going to use that for the hard disk indicator light. I have a power switch, and that is plugged into the front pedal header, and what I did is drilled a small hole in the side. Also, the fan has a small amount of play in it, so I'm going to add a tiny amount of super glue in each of these 4 screw holes. I have some 1/8 inch thick ABS plastic, some black standoffs. I have some black all-purpose caulking, and have some black Gorilla Tape, and using the Permatex super glue, put some Permatex super glue, 1 little dab on each of the 4 corners of the fan housing, and that's going to hold down the ABS plastic. Put some caulking around all 4 sides, and took the Gorilla Tape, applied it to the back side all the way across, and it's holding the I/O shield. And what I'm going to do now is take a little bit of the super glue, put a small amount on each standoff, and finish it off with 1 more piece of 1/8 inch thick ABS plastic. Okay, the build is complete. I have a fresh install of Ubuntu. Let's try to restart and enter the BIOS. Okay, everything looks good, and you may or may not want a remote, so I will cover the remote in a separate video or blog post. And that concludes this video. I would appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel, and comments are welcome down below. Thanks for watching.